my great pleasure to welcome you all today to the official launch of From Survival to Contribution, 16 refugee stories of resilience, courage, and contribution to Australia. Thank you for joining us today during this Refugee Week 2026 to celebrate a remarkable collection of stories that reflect the strength of the human spirit, the power of hope, and the positive impact that refugees make when given the opportunity to belong, thrive, and contribute. My name is Christine Tadros, and what an honor to be here today as your MC on this wonderful morning and for this lovely and meaningful initiative. Today, we are honored to be joined by distinguished guests, government representatives, community leaders, sponsors, supporters, the co-authors, family members, and friends. I would like to welcome our distinguished guests, His Excellency Mr. Ahmed Abdel Latif, Chargé d'Affaires of the Republic of Sudan. Welcome. The Federal Member for Fowler, Ms. Daly MP. Welcome. The State Member for Cabramatta, Mr. Trevor MP. Also welcome. The Mayor for Fairfield City Council, Councillor Frank Carbone. Welcome. Also, we have with us the Deputy Mayor for Fairfield City Council, Councillor Kevin Lamb. Welcome. And we are blessed today with the presence of Father George Benna, who is the الوكيل البطريركي للروم الكاثوليك الملكيين بالسودان. أهلا وسهلا فيك أبونا. All of your presence reflects a shared commitment to inclusion, human dignity, diversity, and social cohesion. Now, before we start, if you allow me to do a few housekeeping items, please ensure that your mobile phones are switched to silent mode. And in the unlikely event of an emergency, please follow the directions of venue staff and our lovely volunteers. The toilets are right in front the door when you're going out for the women's, while the men's are a little bit around the corner, a little bit of a walk, but you get there. This is a public community event. Therefore, photography, videography, and media coverage will be taking place throughout the program, and portions of this event may be live streamed on many social media platforms. So if you prefer not to be filmed or photographed, please advise one of our volunteers and we will make sure to accommodate your request. Following the formal program, we invite you to stay for networking, refreshment, and book signing celebration. As we said, today is more than just a book launch. It is the celebration of courage, resilience, and contribution, and the opportunity to honor 16 remarkable individuals whose stories will inspire very much generations to come. It is now my pleasure to introduce Andrea Neville, a community broadcaster for the Deadly Human Rights Show from Koori 93.7 FM, Sydney's Aboriginal radio station. She is also an ambassador for both ASEAN and United for Human Rights. Andrea is a proud Bardi Jawi elder and a passionate advocate for First Nations peoples, human rights, cultural understanding, and community inclusion. Through her work, she has been a strong voice for truth-telling, reconciliation, and the celebration of Aboriginal culture, heritage, and identity. We are deeply honored by Andrea's presence today and grateful for her support and cultural guidance as we gather to celebrate stories of resilience, belonging, and contribution. Please join me in welcoming Andrea Neville to deliver the acknowledgement of country.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Yay. So it's a privilege to join you this morning, and I want to thank the wonderful Vivianne for inviting me to share the acknowledgement of country with you today, and what an amazing lady she is. So thank you. I want to thank the Arab Council Australia and everyone who has helped bring us together today for the special legacy book launch, From Survival to Contribution, for Refugee Week 2026. I want to acknowledge Mr. Sawadi Ek, founder of ASEAN, who couldn't be here today and sends his best wishes and writes a message at the beginning of the book. And he really wanted to be here. Okay, so before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today, the Gadigal people of the Darug Nation. And we pay our deepest respects to their elders, past and present. I also acknowledge any Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander and South Sea Islander people with us today, and also any other Indigenous people from any other country that is here today. I also extend that acknowledgement to all people that are here, joined us today. For tens of thousands of years, First Nations people have cared for this land, preserving its stories, languages, and cultures through extraordinary resilience. Their survival reminds us that identity can endure through hardship, that hope can outlast injustice, and that culture is a source of strength. Today, we celebrate the courage and resilience of more than 1 million refugees who have made Australia their home since 1948. We also honour the universal human longing for safety, belonging, and the opportunity to build a better future. The journeys of refugees are stories of unimaginable courage. They speak of families forced to leave everything behind, yet refusing to surrender hope. They are stories of people who arrived on these shores, determined not only to survive, but to contribute, to enrich our communities, strengthen our economy, and share their cultures, traditions, and talents with our nation. This legacy book being launched today ensures that these personal stories are not forgotten. It reminds future generations that behind every refugee statistic is a human being, a family, and a dream. It is through listening to these stories that we build understanding, compassion, and stronger communities. As an Aboriginal woman, I know that truth-telling, storytelling, and remembering are powerful acts. They connect us across cultures and generations. They remind us that while our histories may be different, our humanity is shared. May today inspire us to continue building an Australia where every person is treated with dignity, where diversity is celebrated as a strength, and where courage, resilience, and hope continue to shape our shared future. Thank you, and may we walk together with respect, understanding, and peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Andrea. It is now my pleasure to welcome a highly respected community leader whose vision, service, and commitment to multicultural Australia have made a lasting impact on countless individuals and families. Mr. Hassan Musa is the CEO of Arab Council Australia, a leading community organisation dedicated to empowering culturally and linguistically diverse communities through advocacy, leadership, education, and community engagement. Through his tireless work, Mr. Musa has been a strong advocate for social inclusion, community development, and building bridges between cultures. We are especially grateful to Mr. Musa and Arab Council Australia for their generosity, kindness, and unwavering support in providing this wonderful venue for today's landmark launch of From Survival to Contribution. Their contribution has enabled us to bring refugees together, community leaders, government representatives, sponsors, supporters, and families to celebrate stories of resilience, courage, and contribution. On behalf of Future Power Academy, our co-authors and everyone gathered here today, we extend our sincere appreciation to Mr. Hassan Musa and Arab Council for their support and for making this event very possible. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Hassan Musa to stage.
Thank you, Christine, for this wonderful introduction. I wasn't expecting this kind of introduction, but thank you anyway. and thank you, Andrea, for also the acknowledgement of country. I also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which this meeting is being held, the Cabral clan of the Darug Nation. This land always was, always will be Aboriginal land. I uphold the human rights of all people to live life of dignity and peace in the whole world. My job is simple. My job is here to welcome you all, right? And wonderful people here in this room here. Thank you for coming for this. And it was a joyous occasion for us to be hosting such an event here at Arab Council Australia. Arab Council Australia has been really around since 1979, where we've actually been pioneering or working with a lot of other organizations trying to make sure we protect the true nature of this country, which is multicultural Australia. Now, all of you are special guests in here. Obviously, every one of you is a distinguished and a special guest, but I'd like to particularly welcome the local member of parliament, Mr. Daly, Mr. Trevo from the state member for Cabramatta, Frank Carboni, the mayor, His Grace and His Excellency. Thank you all for coming here and coming here. This is an event, it's open to all, and this organization is open to all of you here to be here with us. Look, this year, I think as was said earlier, we celebrate 1 million refugees arriving in Australia. 1 million refugees. 1 million refugees means there's 1 million stories. Each story is an individual story. We're all part of that story. I came here with my family and my parents and so on in 1977. I came under a program called Special Humanitarian Program, where there's 55,000 people who came to Australia. It's one of the largest waves of immigrants who came to Australia between 1975 and 77 under Malcolm Fraser, where he opened a special humanitarian program for people from Lebanon because of the war. I didn't choose to come here because I'm a prospective or an economic migrant. I chose to come here because of the situation that we were in, right, in Lebanon. I welcome the opportunity to be here and be given another life and another opportunity. But my story is unique in itself, but also is not too dissimilar to a lot of other stories where people did not choose to be part of a conflict, did not choose to be part of war. And we have, and from 1977 when I came to Australia to now, almost 50 years or 49 years, there's been so many wars, so many conflicts, so many difficulties. And people, I think the opportunity to come here is quite welcome. But at the same time, can I also say that in that the 1 million people who've come here, right, have to be welcome. They've actually made Australia what it is here today. It's Australia. Australia is a multicultural country, always has been. Since day one, it's been a multicultural for 40,000 years. Even Aboriginal people have had many, many cultures in here. So this talk about Australia being a multicultural country is not on. Right? We are multicultural by not necessarily by choice, by default, by the fact, right? And also by the fact that we are collectively what the mosaic that makes up Australia as it is here today. I had the opportunity of working as a principal migration officer in Cairo, at the Australian Embassy in Cairo, and I interviewed a lot of refugees, and I interviewed a lot of prospective people who actually wanted to become immigrants or refugees or special humanitarian interests to Australia. Not everyone gets that chance. Out of the lot of people who are applying, and that's only a small fraction of people who deserve to be refugees and humanitarian interests, there's a small percentage, 1 or 2%, who actually make it as part of the lot we interview. I went to Sudan 7 times to interview refugees who came from Somalia, from Ethiopia, and Eritrea. I also interviewed refugees in Cairo who came from Sudan. These people did not choose to be refugees, did not choose to be where they are. But the people that I interviewed in Sudan had been there for 3 or 4 generations, living in tents. So imagine that. Imagine just that. The people who live in refugee tents for 3 or 4 generations. I mean, obviously, every one of them is looking for an opportunity. But that opportunity does not present itself to every one of them. And that's really the unfortunate part of this. If we are really keen about making the world a better place, then we all have to invest in making it a better place. We have a responsibility. We are living in a comfortable life here in Australia, right? We have a responsibility to honor that and actually work together to make sure that we don't have any more wars. We don't have any more conflicts. We don't have anything that drives people away from their own country and bring them here to Australia. We have a responsibility as a nation here, as Australia, as a center player in the world politics, that to make sure that we work towards to eliminate the roots that brings people here as refugees and humanitarian answers. That means we have to work together to stop wars, stop conflicts. Once again, I thank you all for coming here. Right, this is your house. You're welcome to talk to us anytime as Arab Council Australia. I can't help but put a plug in for an event we're having next Thursday on the 2nd of April, 2nd of July here in this place, as the heat is on, right? We're seeing people dying in Spain and people actually what's happening in Europe because of the heat. So we're having a conversation, a forum, but the heat is on, and every one of us plays a part in creating a better climate for all of us. So if you'd like to join us, there's some flyer for the front. Please join us on that heat is on in this room here at 6:30 on Thursday night. Thank you very much. And thank you, Vivianne. Sorry, I should have said thank you, Vivianne, for the work that you've done. Sorry, Vivianne has done wonderful work. I think honestly, what she did is something that no one could do. Like the book only came in last night. No? Yeah, sometime. Yeah, and there's, 6 weeks ago wasn't even finished. Right, and still she put all this together and brought all of you wonderful people here to this place here to celebrate what she's done. But again, this is a story. Every story is unique in itself. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Musa. Before I continue, if I can acknowledge the presence of Charisma Caliendo MP, member for Liverpool that just came in. Welcome. So we are honored today to have with us the federal member for Faola, Ms. Dawalibi. From a refugee herself from Vietnam to securing a seat in Parliament, Dai has been a strong advocate for multicultural communities and represents one of Australia's most diverse electorate. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Dawalibi on stage.
Good morning, everybody, and it's an honour to join you this morning for the launch of Survival to Contribution, the Legacy Book launch. Of course, I'd like to thank Hassan, Arab Council as well for providing this space and to bring the community together, and of course to Vivianne. Vivianne, this is a major task in compiling stories of refugees, Australian of refugee background, to show the community of the contribution that refugees can make to society, to our community and to country. Now, I think 16 is just a drop in the ocean. There are millions of stories, as we've heard, there are millions of stories, and that's the theme for Refugee Week, which is the million stories. But as Hassan said, many of us in here understand that journey. And before I start, I'd like to, of course, acknowledge our Mayor, Frank Carbone, and Deputy Mayor, Kevin Lamb, and Charisma Caliendo, State MP. And also, of course, there's former councillors here, Councillor Carmen Lazar and former Councillor Sarah Yilmaz as well, who are former councillors on People City Council. And that's our council is a very multicultural and diverse council. And we have always believed that, sometimes you go out there and you talk about, we need to fight for diversity. We need to talk about multiculturalism. We actually don't have to talk about it because we live it. We live and breathe it. We don't need to go out there and say, oh, we are a multicultural, because we are. And that is the importance, is that we show the world what it means to live in a multicultural, cohesive, and connected community. Celebrating refugees, and I've got a great friend of mine who's in the book, Teresa Tran. Teresa's over there. She is an amazing, connected person to our community here in Fairfield, and I think in Liverpool as well, working supporting a lot of our the workers and people who are patients in multicultural community. And I just want to acknowledge her, and it's so great to see that she's included in this book. And I also had a quick chat to Clement as well, who's also in the book, talking about how important it is for us to share our story. And I think being the first ever Vietnamese refugee to be elected to the federal parliament with the help of our community, that shows that we have the capability, the ability to help shape policies and decisions at a federal level. And I mean, Frank will kind of roll his eyes about this, but as an independent is so important, because you're in there, you do not have to align to any party policy lines. It's about being there and speaking for the community, fighting and arguing and keeping the government of the day accountable. And it's not just the government of the day, but any parties, opposition or any minor party, because we stand out as an independent, because we can actually stand there and talk about issues that impact our community and call them out. And so that is the importance of being an independent. And so for me, I thank the community, because I walk on your shoulders. You have carried me into the federal parliament in Canberra, and I'm your voice in there, speaking day in, day out about what is lacking, about the lack of resources, about our community being taken for granted and treated like second-class citizens. It is so important to have that strong voice. Now, that is, for me, I can talk about it, I can represent you, because I have walked in your shoes. I came here, like many of you, as a refugee. You know, at the end of the war, Hassan, you said between 75, 77, but I think we were part of that, exodus from the Vietnam War, which Malcolm Fraser, the former Liberal Prime Minister, also opened the doors for Vietnamese refugees to be settled here. And Australia at the time had just come out of the White Australia policy. And for those of you who have not lived through that, it wasn't as diverse as it is today. I go to many schools and I said to them, "You're so lucky, you have diverse." Sorry, I just saw His His Grace. I forgot to acknowledge you. You're just looking at me and I said, "Oh my God, I've apologized that I didn't acknowledge you there." And so, growing in that community, just coming out of the White Australia policy, for me, meant that I had to learn English very quickly. And when we first came here, we couldn't speak English. My late mother, it's 3 years today that since she's passed away, I pay tribute to her courage. She's one of those millions of stories of refugees who settled here, who couldn't speak English, who worked in restaurants, who cleaned houses in order to raise her 3 daughters. And, all she said was that you need to study well, you need to ensure that you, build a new life here and be part of this society. So today we are Australia. I always talk about this in the media. We are one Australia, but many, many different, cultures and traditions. We bring our cultures and traditions to that one Australia banner, because Australia has provided us with that safe haven. And I'm sure many of you who've escaped wars have found this safe haven where you can raise your family, where you can build a home. Well, it's harder to buy a house nowadays because of the cost of housing, but that was the initial start, is you can build a home for your family. You can get your business going to look after your family. So there's so many opportunities that Australia, this country, has provided for us. So from my perspective, stories like this, like the stories that you will see in this book, needs and continue to be shared. And the more we share, the more it normalizes that this is what Australia is like today. And can I just say a word of advice? I mean, whatever negatives that you hear, in the media, know that you are resilient and you're worth it. It doesn't matter what people call you. It doesn't matter what people say about refugees. You know your worth. You know that you've contributed to building this country. Just continue to focus on growing in this wonderful, diverse community of ours, continue to give in back, and continuing to actually build the Australia that we want to see in the future. So I'll congratulate Vivianne again, and I'm so glad, Teresa, that you're in that, and I know that you will continue to play a big role in our community, helping shape and contribute to decisions being made in our Fairfield and Liverpool LGA. But thank you for having me. Look, I'll stay for a little while, but Frank and I have to go to another meeting, so thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dai. I'm sure that Mum is so proud of you already for what you have reached and achieved. And we would like to again and again thank Vivianne for shedding light on those amazing and success stories. And without her, maybe we wouldn't have known what's going on and how multicultural and successful this community is. Well, Vivianne not only has put writers together, but she's put some great multicultural performances as well. So because culture and storytelling comes in hand, up next we will have a wonderful performance presented by Harmony Steps, a talented Vietnamese cultural dance group led by Leslie Nguyen. They use the power of dance to keep ancient Vietnamese traditions alive, bringing the gap between generations through a beautiful celebration of heritage and storytelling. Please put your hands together for a mesmerizing cultural showcase by the Harmony Steps group.